Welcome to Sport Story in 5. This is my winter roundup of the cases from the Court of Arbitration for Sport. I'm going to run you through a number of cases that caught my eye between December 2016 and February 2017. This case is a good illustration of the court's strict approach to an anti-doping rule violation. The weightlifter was called Sibel Konak, who was originally found guilty by the IOC Disciplinary Committee on the 21st of July 2016 for an anti-doping rule violation. A substance called stanozolol, which is a steroid, had been found in a urine sample taken while she was competing in the Beijing Olympics. She subsequently had her competition results declared void and was ordered to return her silver medal. She then filed an appeal at CAS against the ruling. The appeal, though, was given short shrift by the sole arbitrator called Michael Beloff QC, who described the case as straightforward. Beloff stated that any arguments about the degrees of fault of the athlete were irrelevant. The very presence of this steroid in her body is prohibited by the Olympic anti-doping rules, and this drug was discovered in her sample. As a result, there was no other option but to impose a sanction, and the appeal was dismissed. This case provides a contrast to the weightlifter ruling we've just discussed and is an example of a successful anti-doping appeal. On the 15th of July 2016, the International Canoe Federation imposed a one-year competition ban on the whole of the Belarusian men's kayak and canoe team, including staff, coaches, athletes, due to a number of alleged doping violations. The allegations were made after the French police raided the Belarusian training camp in April 2016. At the raid, a number of doping substances and equipment were confiscated, and subsequently, after the raid, 5 of the athletes tested positive. After appealing to CAS, a panel of arbitrators had found that there was not enough evidence to justify banning the whole Belarusian canoe and kayak team, and they overturned the ban. The FIFA Appeal Committee originally found that Real Madrid had breached a number of articles in FIFA's regulations on the status and transfer of players. Primarily, the breach concerned Article 19, which prohibits the international transfer and first registration of foreign players under the age of 18, except in limited circumstances. After an original unsuccessful appeal to FIFA, Real Madrid brought the case to CAS, who amended FIFA's decision in 2 main ways. Firstly, Real Madrid were banned from registering any new players, international or national, for 1 transfer period. It was previously 2 transfer periods. And secondly, Real Madrid had to pay a fine of 240,000 Swiss francs, and previously it was 360,000 Swiss francs. The arbitrator explained that Real Madrid's infractions were actually less serious than were being argued by FIFA's judiciary bodies. And as such, while the ruling itself was upheld, the sanctions had to be reduced. While Real Madrid welcomed the sanctions reduction, they argued that CAS should have gone further and revoked the ruling entirely. On the other hand, as you'd expect, many Catalan commentators argued Madrid received favourable treatment. They in particular point to the fact that Barcelona had an appeal for similar violations dismissed in 2014. Either way, with many top European football clubs increasingly looking to recruiting very young talent to gain a competitive advantage, CAS will inevitably deal with similar issues like this again. In April 2013, the club filed a complaint with the FIFA Dispute Resolution Chamber, claiming the player had breached the terms of his employment contract when he signed for another football team in Germany. In January 2016, after a long delay, FIFA imposed a 4-month period of ineligibility on the player. The player then appealed, and the club also appealed. The player asked for a stay of the 4-month ban pending the outcome of the CAS hearing, whilst the club sought compensation. The panel of arbitrators found that the player had breached the FIFA regulations on the status and transfer of players, and dismissed the player's appeal. However, CAS allowed the club's appeal and ordered the player to pay €1,000 in compensation. Whilst the headline about Russian doping is not particularly unusual, sadly, the case is a good example of CAS acting as a court of first instance as opposed to its standard role as a court of appeal. This was because of the suspension of the All-Russian Athletics Federation. The athlete was found to have breached Article 32.2b of the IAAF competition rules on the use of prohibited substances or methods and was given a 2-year ban. The coach was found guilty of violating the IAAF rules on possession, trafficking and administration of banned substances and was banned for a grand total of 10 years. So that completes my winter 2016/17 case summary from the Court of Arbitration for Sport. And I've uploaded a written version of this video on my blog, a link to which can be found on my Twitter page. For more details of the decisions made by CAS in this period, have a good look at their website. It's very good and very informative, and you can download all the awards there. And I look forward to seeing you again. Thank you very much for watching.